main feature of Vampire Survivors is a automatic shooting, the overheat map, unassuming 8-bit graphics, and unremarkable music included. Your character, a hunter of evil spirits, bravely walks around the location, dodging all sorts of skeletons and zombies, and vacuuming experience crystals. The task to pump up and last half an hour against the ferocious waves of enemies. Amazingly, the about was enough to gain 1000 extremely positive reviews on Steam in less than a year. So, Vampire Survivors is designed to be a player with one hand. No jokes. Vast or arrow keys are enough. Well, also enter to confirm in the menu. The minimalist controls are reminiscent of Project for cell phones, arcade machines, and DVD players. Indeed, developer Luca Gelante, an Italian living in the UK, originally released Vampire Survivors on Android, inspired by the success of Magical Survivor. However, Gelante quickly removed the crude build from Google Play and refocused on computer. The factors that influence the takeoff of Vampire Survivors are many. One reason is the variability, and the user is not dumped on a pile of options, but acclimated to the game gradually. The main screen will lazily fill up with buttons and get the characters. The default is available one. The rest are unlocked for money and by fulfilling special conditions such as defeat 1000 enemies in total. The main difference between them are reduced to the steering weapon and a passive ability. Antonio wields a whip and has a bonus to the damage inflicted. Imelda uses a magic staff and both a bonus to the experience. Gennaro knows a knife and in general releases one a project more than his companions, and so on. There are over 2 dozen fighters in total. I opened a dozen in 20 hours without effort. I ended up getting used to Pascaline. Her weapon is an Rancefighter, a beam that appears enemies and springs off walls, and her bonus is increase speed for projectiles. All the weapons here are remote. The game is reminiscent of shoot 'em up, only instead of a spaceship is a foot soldier. In fact, scrolling shooters also feature automatic fire, but obviously not as a central element of a gameplay. Another comparison with the Berserk and Robotron begs to be made. In Review Gamers go further and write down Vampire Survivors in the ranks of Bally Hell, the extremely variety of scrolling shooters, where the display is covered by a cloud of enemy bullets. At first I thought it was an exaggeration, but in the second half of the race the map really is overwhelmed by the darkness. There's nowhere to step, but the hero scratch our space pixel by pixel. Gelante himself claims that Vampire Survivors is inspired by a Pac-Man. Come to think of it, it makes sense. Pac-Man 2 rolls around in mazes, bursts balance and gets away from ghosts. In Vampire Survivors the walls are formed by moving breaths. You cut your way through the maze yourself. That is drawn back to the start screen. This element is carried over to the arcade from the Rogue Quakes. However, there aren't 2 million weapons and items here, so you can more or less predict how the race will turn out. When you reach a level, the game offers 3 or 4 choices. Pick up a new weapon, upgrade an old one, damage speed, array of effect and so on. Take a useful item. For example, thanks to the wings, the character is moving faster, the empty folly reduces the reloading weapon, doing the whole hurt grows health bar, items following the knives and axes are allowed for development. Heroes carry 6 weapons and items with them. In half an hour you can gain 60-70 levels and upgrade the lion's share of the arsenal to the max. Or all given that on the map all the bosses drop chests that offer gold and the same window with a choice of 3 or 4 options, was in the requirement level. At the beginning of the harvest does not make sense to pull or think at once. It's better to concentrate on a couple of free favorites, otherwise you will fall behind in terms of popping from the rampaging crowd of monsters. If you are not killing monsters in the well full, there's something wrong with your approach. I am not sure that Vampire Survivor has a lot of build builds and needs to be experimented with regularly. I don't think that's what the game is about. Like any good arcade game, it's primarily entertaining. It's nice to get through an ocean of indeed while immersing yourself with a circular saw. It's wildly fun. It's like being in a particular rage mode. Would you say it's dumb? I disagree. You have to think in Vampire Survivors sometimes. For example, weapons have evolution. If you had a bunch of Beyblades, cross them with a caster, and get a Mega Bond that works without stopping. Or this, add a runster to the ammo, and hello race exploding in fireworks on rebound. Evolutions are great for helping out at the end of the run. By the way, you don't have to link weapons and items yourself. It happens automatically. There are plenty of weapons, recipes, and characters in Vampire Survivors. It's all associated giving out in portions. The random stage and hero mode. The acceleration mode. The bestiary will not appear to the menu immediately. Apparently, Gelant has chosen this approach, so that the user's eyes will not be confused after launching the game. Don't think that I am thrilled about Vampire Survivors. Yes, when the character squeezes his shoulders, moving down the end is exciting. However, collecting experience in the first few minutes of the match is usually boring. To some extent, the maps contribute to this. On the first one, in the squishy forest, there's nothing to catch the eye. The second, the library, is an inaccessible corridor. The third, a dairy factory, is a pile of steel boxes and pipes. The fourth is Tower or LA Castlevania. There is a thorough lack of interactive elements in the location. One can feel only the rudiments in the forest out of nowhere pop up in flock of bats, not a danger, but rather an opportunity to gain experience. There the hero is also sometimes locked in the tempting ring of plants. In the factory, you can hit a squeezy wagon or step a fish trap and find yourself in a circle of enemies. A similar ambush is implemented in the tower. Slightly delayed the action specialized finding like a flamethrower and freeze. I would like to have more of these spectacular chips on the maps, and their architecture is not so badly reminiscent of the area of the nets. Graphics are a stumbling block that can turn people away from the Vampire Survivors. Jolanta Mentesh is interviewed that he used a set of assets he bought a long time ago. The monster and the character sprites may look okay on their own, but they don't really live up to their indie sensation status. While gameplay is much more important than graphic in this arcade, the picture is puzzling with elements that don't fit together well. The game has no story. The names are plucked from the Italian countryside. The dairy factory must somehow pass for the Gothic thing. Okay, I will just ignore this absurdity. After all, I'm here for the gameplay. Vampire Survivors' growing popularity is due to its Twitch broadcast, low system requirements, and a price. The game is designed for beginners and experienced players alike. Nothing difficult in Vampire Survivors. There almost no need to think an ideal candidate for the selection of games for the evening. What's there to do in the Beyond Fun evening? Well, someone definitely going to get their hands on 100 old archives, and in any case, Vampire Survivors is noteworthy as the most direct experience in the short up genre in recent years, at a penny price. So, highly recommend.